So this is the fifth game of the Cubs season here out of 162. 17 to 1 Cubs. This was actually a pretty good game, somewhat indicative of getting close to midseason form. So we're starting out here again against the Dodgers. See them a ton in the beginning of the season. And so Blade Frazier's already taken chunks out of me in this series. He got a home run last game. And he plays center field, just to clarify from my previous post there. He's also very fast. But you know, just to clarify, I referred to Bobby Baker out in center field that last game, which was a mistake. And so, oftentimes in the game, there aren't that many real dangerous at bats. But I've been thinking a little bit about it. Tony Taloni versus a left-hander, especially a non-super curveballer, or even a super curveballer, because you can make mistakes in your timing. That's a pretty dangerous at bat, and when you can get, when you're fighting it like that. So that took, I think 3 or 4 or 5 pitches there, and I kept on trying to get him to ground out over there. It was pretty awesome. It worked out. So Knuckles McGee is the first time we see a knuckleballer in the season. I don't believe he actually throws one the entire game while he's in the game. So just wanted to just salute the high watermark of Curtis Swing's batting average for the season. With a walk here, just random hit batsman. So I don't. It's going to go down from here. There's no possible way it's sustainable at that rate, above 900. So. Kind of a dumb idea here. I figured, try it out with Bayless, try to sneak a bunt in there and load up the bases. I actually do successfully load the bases up a few times this game, and it works out pretty well, at least in one circumstance. Rebel Ruiz here, a good jack, but not quite deep enough. But thanks to having 2 max speed guys, on the base paths and in scoring position, that worked out pretty well. So, the kind of starting out with a bang here. Sizemore's going to get on base with I guess I'm just trying to keep it going at this point. Like, I'm feeling it. I know I could have gotten more out of the Ruiz at bat, and that was a bummer. But, trying to steal a base here, just in case we got a knuckleball out of the blue and it didn't work out. So, already up, 2 in the first inning, and, having base runners on. It's a good situation. I like getting down to the jackhammer and Cutter Wells portion of the lineup. With base runners on, obviously. The hit and run was on there, and just not quite enough from Hammer, but we'll see more from him in this game. He had a pretty good showing here, so. Back to defense, Bopper O'Reilly, nothing player. Eyesore on an eyesore, Grande Carina, pretty much the skinny version of Bopper O'Reilly, maybe slightly faster. And like there's just so many guys like him in this game that just don't stand out for any particular reason. I'm not sure if I have him rated as sub replacement or replacement level, but unless you're a guy like Bobby Baker who has max speed, you're not really that special in this game, unless you have like severely high overall stats. Billy Pope is a great example of a very complete player with almost scratching the surface of elite. Just because he is so complete, you can put him in any situation. But Bobby Baker here just launches a home run. He caught every bit of that. And as with the AI, whenever they get a home run on me, and this is the second game in a row, I give them the full trot because they earned it. This is very likely the closest differential I'm going to have for a while when they have points on the board. So good for Bobby Baker. Good for the little guys in this team, little fast guys. Both of them hit home runs on me. They both hit them on the same pitch, which is the plain vanilla pitch, just as far outside as I can get it. So maybe I need to revisit that strategy. Um, so I think my team, we might have scratched, we got above 25 hits in this game, but a lot of them didn't really pay off all that well. Cutter Wells getting on his own was kind of a big deal. Nice little line drive up the gut, followed up by a Frank Slater, sacrifice that, bunt hit, right? So interesting position at the beginning of the game. There's no outs, so I really don't want to use Paisley yet, and so I figured why not Billy Pope, because I haven't been able to make any magic with him yet, and it's like just to try to get something on the stat sheet before I have to do my 5-game stats. I don't want to see a 0 batting average. I mean, that's just kind of a bummer. So not looking good so far here. And I think this is where I buckle down, and I'm like, I just force myself to be patient, because he was throwing curveball after curveball at that at bat. So actually, I mean, perfect swing timing. Got it right down the pipe, right on the ground. Worked out really well. And so here's where the kind of the carousel is supposed to start. The idea is that the next 2 batters would, push bunts properly, and we would keep the bases loaded while earning 2 more runs. Stealth again didn't, not great bunt push. Not sure what the deal is here. And Curtis swing, I was trying to see if the magic still extended, from his first 4 games batting above 900. I figured, hey, why not? I mean, go for it. He's been hot. Didn't work out. So Bayless's turn to try to convert something out of this inning. And instead of just kind of hitting a ground ball, I mean, a little bit of variation seems to be helping my cause here. And then I get caught with the computer actually trying to play pickle. You notice that when they're playing pickle, the catcher never moves, so you're pretty safe there. And then Rebel Ruiz here. I mean, normally exactly the guy you'd want up to bat, but I have been so cold with him. I know he's gonna have a high average after 5 games, and it's gonna be pretty high even by my standards. But it's just been filled with like nickel and dime plays, and there's more of them here. Like and that was me being dumb. I don't know what I was doing looking at that one. I should have been out of the park. But I mean, we're just gonna get these little. I mean, like why? Like at this point, I actually do feel bad about bunting with him, because I did that just purely defensively to make sure I scored a run or give you the best chance of scoring a run. And the bunt is the most sure way I know of getting on base. And then I just went ahead and took a double because I'm already kind of bending the rules a little bit by even bunting at all with him. Not just going for it, but. We pop out by Razor Sizemore. I've noticed that, with him, I tend to stand farther away from the plate because I'm trying to get him into the gaps. And a lot of times, I mean, he just floats the ball. I've noticed that over the past few games. I mean, it's actually a lot different playing the game in real time after being able to relive or rewatch moments like this. Just games like this, and after the fact, and being able to kind of study the weak points there. Like the game thought I should have been able to jump and get that one, because we didn't hear the safe ball boop sound until after it passed the first baseman. So I'm still working on jumping. Base running's been an issue all throughout. I don't think I have any major gaffes in this game. I might have one, but I've probably lost about 5, maybe 6 runs in the first 5 games. Just by being dumb on the base paths, maybe even more. I don't know. And then I just haven't been hitting. My big guys just haven't been hitting home runs. So I mean, that's kind of the weak points here. I think we're still gonna average maybe 13 runs a game. I haven't really done the math yet on it. And I've been scored on a lot, which is a little surprising. But it's not the point of the strategy. The point of the strategy is to score as many runs as you can. So here, I mean, get a little bit of trouble. This is probably, DEFCON 1 if you're like a new player playing this game, because you just got the bases loaded and you got a player that the AI just loves to just swing with. And luckily, fastball right down the pipe. I curved it to the inside a little bit, and Ruiz is fast enough to pull it down. So save myself from some real embarrassment there. And then that pitch right there, by the way, I got hosed on. That was not a strike. I just want to call that out. And that was okay. The umpire got that one right. But sometimes I've noticed, especially on the far right side of the plate, you don't get a lot of love. So jackhammer home run. I think he actually might be leading the team in home runs when this game is all said and done. Just been, I feel like I've been kind of got my timing right with him. Cutter Wells gets lucky here. A little blue pit. This is where, that play right there is the exact reason why I traded Steady Gibbons to the Dodgers for Phil Boone. So those plays like that could drop and the gap would open up. Another nice bunt here, Frank Slater. So we're back to the really expeditious getting base runners on strategy. So it's working out pretty well. Time for another pinch hitter here. So we're right on schedule, by the way. And in terms of your pitchers, when you're the away team, you get to bat 9 times. And so in games where I'm away, I might actually get to bat, Trip Otto, the last guy I would ever really want to use in the game, but still just has sentimental value over this Juan Valdez character on my lineup. If I'm ever using either of those two guys, the game is going extremely well because I'm burning through pitchers at an extremely high rate, at once per inning and a half. So avoid, there I did not avoid that base running gap. That was it right there. Even when how the computer plays pickle, just controlling 2 base runners at a time is kind of a pain in the butt. And I got caught up there. So Jimmy Stealth, this kills me. I got to get better with the bunting. I've been probably 75% successful this season, I think. I'm not going to go check the numbers or anything like that, but I feel like bunting has gone really well, and it is the most. You have the most influence on kind of the initial direction, and you can see how. It's just by practicing bunting, you can see a bunch of, how the direction of your swing by pressing right or left, for example. Not even worth the throw here, honestly. If you dive, if as a shortstop and you got Bobby Baker and you max speed guy coming up, you're never going to catch him at first. But I digress. The whole point for me for bunting, is bunting and home runs they allow you a chance to really see, how the placement in the batter's box, the timing of your swing, the trajectory of the pitch coming at the bat, the timing of your swing, obviously, if you're up, down, left, right, or some combination thereof. Kind of see how that impacts the game a little bit. I think the way that bunting works, I'm going to try to apply some of the principles I've learned just learning how to push bunts and try to apply those while I'm hitting the long balls here. So I'm going to start moving around the batter's box a little bit more going forward from here, just to try to maybe be a little bit more aggressive with the hitting, because in this game here, throughout the season so far, I've been playing a little timid, mostly just trying to optimize the base runners and just take my shots when I can. But in this game here, I let loose a couple times with guys that I don't normally do, and it pays off. And so I guess I'm working my timing here, my return base timing. I don't think I was going to beat that one out, but still trying to get better at taking those extra bases where I can. So Rebel Ruiz here, swinging early. Knuckles is such a slow pitcher. That is a really slow pitch. To put in perspective, the average, the home run derby pitcher, who I would imagine has, you'd have to think they just have the most average stats, right? His regular pitch is 62 to 63 or 4, maybe miles per hour, and Knuckles is he's brutally slow. Fantastic bunt laid down here. So the bases are loaded. Perfect situation. Jackhammer's coming up to bat. Regardless of how you got there, just having the bases loaded and a guy like this up the plate, I mean, you're in good hands. And in this case, the worst that could go wrong is that he fly ball, and we get maybe a run or two over the plate. Well, that's the worst best case scenario, I guess. But I think we're gonna see the best case scenario, which is that he just crushes a grand slam. So that was to the right center field. I'm gonna give him the whole home run trot because I like grand slams, I like the music, I like the little high five at the end. I think it was a nice touch that they treated a grand slam a little bit differently. I mean, even calling it like a grand salami, like the announcer gets super excited about it. So anyway, that ends the day for our friend Knuckles McGee. Brings on the Dodgers bullpen. So immediately, great hit here, Cutter Wells. If I'm wondering about swing timing, like if I had waited like a millisecond later, would I've capped that thing to deep center and had better contact, better power on it? I mean, it doesn't, I guess, really matter in the grand scheme of things. And Frank Slater, using him unconventionally here, catch the AI in a goof, and he almost, and I don't know, because the catcher was running, it was a race to the plate before I lost my nerve and went back to third and said, you know what, there's only one out. I might be able to get more out of this inning, and I'm not going to chance it, especially since I've had a hard time building this kind of momentum where the runs just start coming, like a faucet, which is what you need to really get to that magical land of like 20 and above runs per game. Is that you need to be just a run scoring machine of a lineup. You can't have down spots here. So good pinch hitting. Finally got Carl Hansen a hit as well. So pinch hitters are kind of recording themselves so far. I think Mike Decker is the only one that's going to end up out of the first 5 games without a hit, and I'm getting pretty sick of his complete lack of contact. But it's all up to your timing and whatnot. But I believe that there's got to be something to do like with the big guys versus small guys. I still think that there's something to that somewhere. But anyhow, if I had to pick my least favorite player right now on my team, it's Mike Decker. He's the guy that I'm least impressed with. So no biggie. I mean, he'll bat 162 times in the season, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. He'll end up with a 300 batting average or somewhere around there, mostly because I use him for power and not contact a lot of the time. Just kind of hoping for the lucky hit. Like, I'm not looking for much out of him. And I think with all of your players, just kind of knowing what the expectations are is probably a big part of the game. But it's all relative. So if you want to take a crappy team, say build a team where you've got your best players, a guy like Brooker Brooks, for example, like take the Red Sox. Like you can still demolish teams with just the in the box Red Sox team, but it's very unlikely that Brooker Brooks is going to be able to match a Rebel Ruiz type performance or a Griffey, definitely, just on the basis that he just doesn't make good contact and he's not max power. And so knowing that the stuff you can do with maxed out guys, and just kind of expecting maybe a little bit less. I don't know how you measure that. I'm trying to learn how to measure it. I'm trying to learn how potentially like field dimensions actually work, by using home run lengths and whatnot. A cool byproduct of this project is to see the longest home run I can hit in 162 games. I figure we'll hit 500, 600 home runs, maybe more, if it picks up. Kind of seeing the distances there. Measuring home runs is fun. So I think with Razor Sizemore here, I think I've finally just cut him loose and just say we should go for it, and he catches one. And that's the most common type of Sizemore home run that I see is just straight away out to left field. He just takes it right out of the park when he gets a hold of it. But I don't know, it's been kind of weird with him. Like I've gotten good contact with him, but I've really been floating a lot of balls. I'm really looking for more line drives, so I may try to use him more as a ground ball hitter for a little while and see if that changes my luck. Because, just because you're asking for a ground ball or asking for a fly ball when you're swinging doesn't really guarantee that you'll get that, because there's this middle ground, like it's called a line drive, right? That it appears that either pressing up or down can slip into line drive status, and I don't know if it's somehow related to your contact rating. Nice play here at center field. That would really bug me if he got on base. That kind of a hit. Again, that's why I play my infield or my outfield in, is just for plays like that, just the nickel and dimers ones that lead to them getting a lot of base runners and putting you in a bad spot. But I don't know. Talking about player expectations, talking about home run distances and whatnot. So I've got a really good example of that, about expectations versus actual real life. So the longest home run I've ever hit in a game, and I wish that back in the day I had the foresight to put a video camera on this stuff, but it's literally happened once in 20 years, so it's very unlikely I'll capture something like that again. I hit a 516-foot home run using Billy Pope, who is definitely not a max player, but he got the most out of a pitch, and he did it as well as, actually better than Griffey, better than Ruiz, or better than I've been able to do with those guys. And so I think that leads me to think that no matter who you're using in this game, like Mike Decker, for example, the sweet spots get narrowed. I think that the stats will constrict your contact zones and will make the multiplier of your power and velocity probably jack that up, to make it so, just kind of rig the game against you. But I've got a feeling that if you just swing right with any player in this game and you get your timing down and you've got it, you can probably just I don't know, bat 600 with everybody. It's, if you get it done, get it done right. I know that everyone can hit a home run in this game. I'm really looking forward to that challenge at some point. I finally got done hitting a home run with every Rockies player. The Ali Mandafield was the one that took the longest. Just to try to intentionally hit a home run with every player. Oh, bad fielding here. That's going on the low light reel, for sure. I just got lazy there. I hate fielding. I hate defense. I think what I might start doing, just to make these more watchable, in case someone ever possibly, for the love of God, why would they do this to themselves? Watch this stuff, make it a little bit more bearable to watch, and just show the scoring plays by the AI. Because there are few and far between, but it is fun when the computer scores against you. I find myself near the mid, probably the 20 game mark, actually kind of rooting for the computer once in a while, because it does, the way that you perform, the numbers that we're putting up here are just silly compared to the rest of the league, and you're kind of you kind of want a challenge almost. It's just like playing this game here. I doubt I'd be playing this game still if I was winning this game, 13-12 right now. All right, that would be, high level of difficulty, but this game wouldn't be as interesting that if it had a sharp, an elite level or something like that, a level where even the bonus games. Even the bonus games are relatively easy to win. So Jackhammer again, nearly the exact same location, got a little less on it. Manages to get a double here. Was hoping for a triple, but doesn't matter. He's done a ton of damage, and we're at 15-1. So feeling pretty good about life here. Cutter Wells, I'm just gonna let him swing, and does not pay off. So I think his run of luck for the game is probably over. And then Frank Slater here, he's 4 for 4. I don't necessarily want to change pitchers right now, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the power with him, and it does not work out. That was a waste of a bat. And as it turns out, I was going to have to change pitchers anyway, so I'm not sure what my point was with that with Slater. I think maybe it was just because he was 4 for 4, and I was feeling good about his batting average and figured that, hey, why not steal 2 more runs before I have to swap out arguably my best pitcher, most consistent, and you get Jim Paisley here for another wasted at bat here. This one's really a bummer, because even if I had waited on the swing, I wouldn't have gotten enough of that to be at all useful. So, I guess the question I have, like, after all this, as we're kind of nearing the end of the first 5-game segment, is the major themes I'm seeing here are what conditions of the game are controlled by the AI, and to what extent. So what randomization is controlled by the AI, how much of it is randomized versus how much of it is like a factor of stats, and which stats count, and when do they count. So like Tony Taloni being a max speed catcher on the field, yet being a turtle on the base paths as a batter. I mean, there are things that are confounding about this game, as well as the fact that you can just beat the crap out of it mercilessly. The replay value plus the players. I don't have to worry about like making Sammy Sosa feel bad or whatever. But I don't know. Like, just the themes I'm seeing is like I'm wondering how much control I actually have. I asserted as much control as I could at the beginning of the season by trading strategically so that I removed as much talent, as much speed in skill positions as possible from the National League before the season started. And so like I did as much like the Steady Gibbons trade here, the fact that he's playing left field for the Dodgers, is one of those optimization tweaks that I could control before the season started. And then in the game, the where I'm lacking control, obviously, or where I'm lacking, really good performances is base running. I think my swing timing is starting to come around, but like all that stuff's nice and good, but how much of it actually really matters? If the AI can just flip a switch and suddenly go from being a fielding team that just lets everything drop versus one that, like we saw last game, they're not even in the fielder's not even inside the circle, and they're making the catch on a quickly dropping ball, and I don't know, but the whole point is that I think that as a player, if we can break it to 20 or to 30 runs a game, even with whatever limited AI, whatever at whatever level, and if the base of the AI is an at bat, or if it's a pitch, or if it's an inning, or if it's a game, and which things are controlled by what different AI types, for example, really getting a hold of some balls here. They're paying for having Steady Gibbons out in the outfield there, but that's the end of the scoring. Sizemore, gets a triple assisted by knocking over Taloni. Catchers take a ton of abuse in this game, and I guess that brings up another thing. There's no injuries. You don't ever have to worry about your best player going out with a torn hammy. The closest thing to an injury you have is when your pitchers get tired, and that's never a problem with me because I just rotate starting pitchers. What a black jackhammer. Wish I got more out of him there. So 27 hits, 17 runs. This is a pretty good game. I think it's the best game this season. If I could take that one Bobby Baker pitch back and have it 17-0, it'd be even better. But overall, it's a nice way to round out the first 5. Kind of pack the stat sheet a little bit to be a little bit more impressive. And we'll pick it up. Pick it up here in a couple days. Go even farther. Again, come along for the full 162 here. If you want, if you dare. I'm going to try to put some highlight reels down here, but crushed them 17-1. Really, Bobby Baker was the only difference, and then 7 RBIs in this game for one jackhammer, who is the player of the game for maybe the 3rd game in a row. He's probably been my best player so far. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.